Hello.
How's it going?
Yeah, fine. I mean, it's no longer release manager, so you know the reverse of how it works.
So do we have a plan for a demo? What's the pipeline status?
Robert, are you shaking your head because we don't have a plan, or because it's better not to run a rollback?
Either or both. Yeah, I'm just looking at the deployer pipelines this morning, and they're not looking so great so far.
That's fair, and it's a little. Have we got an incident ongoing at the moment?
I haven't checked it. Let me see.
It might not be. I just assume there is. At the moment, it's just very a bad status.
It's a safe bet.
So is there something useful to use this time for, or I have a discussion item, but it's probably not very long. So if there's anything more engaging, any problem solving, we could go through together or anything like that. We could do that.
No active incidents, it says.
Yeah, everything seems clear. Maybe we should try. So there is something new, which is the GitLab rollbacks are manual now. So it's worth testing this change if we want to.
Is this also, how does this fit in with our kind of moving to production plan? Like is this, do we expect to have big, is this, let me rephrase this. Have we made all the changes we'd like to make to this pipeline in an ideal world if it all works ahead of our production test? Or are there other steps we would want to test out?
Well, I would say for sure we need to test this with the latest changes before running it in production. So the GitLab, GitLab has a manual rollback. And other than that, I don't see other blockers. I mean, it always worked so far. We are more confident on it, so yeah.
Nice, cool, sounds good. So is this the week we nominate Henry to try the rollbacks? Do you fancy trying the rollbacks, Henry?
What? I'm totally unprepared.
That's I think for best status though, right? Because that's well, we don't have it here because we're always daytime, but it's always the thing, isn't it? When you're in an incident, you don't plan your incident. You are totally unprepared. It's probably 3 a.m. You were asleep, and now you have to roll back.
Wow. Yeah. You're surprising me. Oh, what should I do in this case? So I guess I should share my screen. So can you see my screen at all? I'm not really sure which screen I shared actually.
We can see the browser with the notes.
Okay, great. So in this case, I guess I would need to look for some runbook for to run a rollback. And I know that we had runbooks in the deploy delivery, I mean, project somewhere. To be honest, I wouldn't even know where to look for our runbooks at the moment, because I'm normally look at the infrastructure runbooks, so I don't even have them in my browser history.
I was just looking through Slack as well. We don't link to these documents anywhere. Like, this is the hardest step, is trying to find the documents.
Yeah,
It's linked now because Robert did the linking, but you must know that there is the chatops command. So if you ask for the status, if it's something is rollbackable, then it gives you also the direct link to the documentation.
okay. But normally,
so
I think
definitely we
just,
should. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I just would normally I would now just go through the team page and then look where we have our runbooks, and there it seems to be.
Yeah, maybe we should also link our runbooks from the general
there it is.
runbooks repository.
Yeah, that's a good idea. We should add them to somewhere in Slack as well. Because I always look in the releases subject title, and I always think it's there. We've got release documentation. It's then just the handbook. It's just like a roundabout trip.
Okay. Now I start reading it. So I can run this shatops command. In which channel do we best execute this? In announcements or?
We usually do have upcoming release.
Okay.
But I mean, it's probably this could happen in the incident channel. We don't have chatops, so maybe in production, something like that. I mean,
okay, I'll try it there. But we want to try it in staging or production, or we wanted to try production today?
No, staging.
Staging, okay. Just to be sure, okay. So safe to roll back, it tells me in the upcoming release chat room, so should be fine.
Did you set that up, Alessio? Or is this just that day's deployment? Okay, that's good.
So that's nice. Find the package to roll back. Open from a browser. Okay. No. Didn't we have something linked in the chatops command output?
yeah, probably we should remove the replace part.
I see now, yeah. Okay, I need to replace the one that we want to roll back to. So that would be the previous one that I see in the chatops command. And I also see a compare link now there. Okay, then I probably would try to use that one. But I'm trying also to use the alternative way. Is it this one? Not sure. Yeah, sure, with that one. Okay. So there's something. And looking at the other one, I mostly see a list of commits there. Okay, that's nice. But I did this probably before already because I needed to first figure out that I need to roll back because of this and that MR. So probably I first did this one here to see what changed and then figured out, okay, I need to roll back, and then I would look into this one. Okay. So I got the tag in here. It should be this one for Omnibus, for instance, I guess. Okay. Obtain the package version. Simply press with something. Okay, so I need to take the tag that I found there, replace some characters inside of that. Okay, and run the checkups command to roll back actually. Move this over here. So just run myself of the tag that I want to run roll back. That would be that one. Just interrupt me if I do it wrong. Nice. And then we have checkups run roll back. Okay. Does this look good to you? Okay, I'll try. For production, we would say production. You're just checking to be sure that I don't roll back something for production. Okay.
Yeah, the player defaults to staging.
Yeah. Okay. That didn't work because of. No, it should work, I think.
It
Yeah,
might have
there's a
worked.
slowdown in pipeline, so probably.
This is the nature of our chat.
Yeah. That's fine. Okay, scheduled can be viewed here. Nice. Something is happening. What else do we see? Okay, that's after rollback. Section deployer guide. I will not read that now because I'm under time pressure, I guess. After rollback has been completed. Okay. Here, error cases for chat-ups. Interesting. Nice. And migrations. Yeah. Wasn't there something about checking if we have post migrations when you need to roll back, or?
Is this the first command that you run that told you that it's safe to roll back was doing this check?
Nice.
What you see here is in case the thing doesn't work, how can you get the same information manually?
That's great. Okay.
What I realized right now is that we need to update this documentation explaining that Gitly is not rolled back by default. So there is a manual job at the end, and if we want to roll back that as well, we need to play the button to play the play button, push the play button. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just now reading the details because I was a little bit in a hurry when I did this right now.
Do we need to check if there is a deployment to staging before rolling back? There isn't at the moment, but I'm not sure. I mean,
it will be blocked. So in theory, yes, would be wise to not only to check this, but also to block out-reply tagging or things like that, because you don't want to have things interfering with your rollback. But just
Yeah. Should we add those steps like to the documentation, just to double check that we don't have an ongoing deployment to staging?
I think we should have some clarification, because if I see safe to roll back here, then I'm assuming that I'm fine and I don't need to check anything else, right? So either we really mean it like that, everything is safe, go on, or we...
Yeah, this means that the package can be rolled back
Yeah.
safely is the only check that is performed.
Yeah, if we have
Yeah,
a
I get it,
running
but-
staging deployment going though, then that could finish and then invalidate that output by the time we're ready to actually do the rollback.
Yeah, I mean, this sentence, safe to roll back, that could lead to me and other people to believe that we are fine in every case, so we don't need to check for anything else, right? And that's one of the first things that we do to check. So maybe either write this package is safe to roll back instead of saying safe to roll back in general, right?
There's something worth mentioning here is that even if you say safe to roll back and you start rolling back and there is an ongoing deployment, no harm will be done, because the deployment will just stop before starting. Because when he's checking the status of the environment, we just fail on the first job, because the omnibus check will tell you, no, will tell you that the role is locked, whatever, but it does mean that there's an ongoing deployment. So in terms of harm, there's no harm in just blindly following and starting the rollback, but yeah, we can definitely add more information around this.
Cool. Did I do it right, like taking the most recent tag? Let me check.
There was only one, so you
Yeah.
did it right.
We're checking the Rails SHA, right? So is it even possible to have multiple tags in this case? I guess it is if we change an omnibus file.
Yeah, but we say, so basically they are timestamped at time of tagging. So if you take the more recent timestamp, it should be the right one, in theory. Yeah, this is a good point, because maybe you are rolling back between two versions of the same Rails code base because the bug is in omnibus. In that case, you are not rolling back. You are just rolling out the same broken package again. Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean,
Okay,
yeah,
so-
ideal scenario, we would be getting the package automatically and not have to do this tag search.
Yeah, so it's rolling back now. So I would now wait for it to finish, see if there are some errors, but it takes a while. And now I'm trying to look forward what I could expect. And instructions here. So this is about migrations, but I think we said that we don't do anything if we need to do migrations by hand, right? So it's not really the case. It's more an emergency thing, right?
Yeah, what follows from in case of ChatOps failure is basically everything we have done, how can be done manually. So the first section is about determine post-deployment migrations. There should be another one later on that tells you how to run the rollback pipeline manually. Is it there? Can you scroll, please? Yeah, okay.
And you roll back here, yeah. Okay.
Maybe we should write it more prominently that you are done. There's nothing else to read here unless something ChatOps is not working. And so those are manual alternatives to the original steps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah, because it looks like after rollback, I need to do something here, right? I mean, following this part, but this is more like in case of error or something. And then, yeah, so these are these special cases and extra information.
What do we need to do to put together the things like that omnibus point? Like, so we've kind of focused so far on, can I roll back? What about the step before that of deciding, is this incident something that we can recover from by rolling back? Does that make sense? So not everything is going to be a bug that we could roll back. Like, for example, it was introduced 2 days ago. Rolling back's not going to help you, or it's in.
Yeah, but this happens
or,
before, right? So
yeah.
something changed. So either you flipped a feature flag of something that was shipped a couple of days ago, and so it's the feature flag flipping that started this, or you rolled out a change. It's really unlikely that you have some kind of.
Not necessarily. I think we've had, like, particularly, I think we see if you deploy in like EMEA morning, I think we've had several cases in the last few months where we've found the bug like later on at night when we've already deployed another thing in between.
Well, okay. Oh, no, I understand. Yeah, I mean, this would not help you. I mean, we can stretch the thing, figuring out when it was introduced.
No, that's what I'm saying. But my point is like that. Like, how do you? There's like a step before deciding, is this safe to roll back? Which is this incident something that can be recovered from rolling back, right? Which is where we work out, like, when did we introduce the change, and is it a satellite project, or all of those things.
Well, now we are working kind of in a vacuum here, right? Because we do the rollback for the sake of doing the rollback. So we start by the rollback runbook, but indeed this is linked by the P1S1 incident. So in that one, there's everything around that, which is about trying to figure out if this is something that is a code change, so that could be rolled back or not. And so this kind of gives you something around, right? So you don't start because you want to roll back. On the other hand, thinking about automating this, so our end goal as a delivery team, I would say that because you are in control of the rolling forward and rolling back, and you are checking metrics while you roll out, you have say kind of a certain level of confidence that you were rolling out, metrics started dropping. So the problem should be in the things that you're rolling out. But this is because of, see, if you want to automate this. So if you want to blindly roll back if something goes wrong, then you have to say something like this. I'm changing something and things are breaking now that I changed something. So first hypothesis, the thing that I'm rolling out is broken.
I'm wondering if I not also would try to look back in the ChatOps history here to see what was the last deployment, right? And directly from there, figure out what I want to roll back, right? Because looking at this, for instance, if you ran autos deploy status, I would expect that I get the same, right? A package number. But this is not the one that we rolled back to now. This is the one that we had previously, right? We can't.
That one is what is it was yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
So that package is what was running.
Yeah.
At the time we rolled back
this one. Yeah. So and
in the announcement channel, you should be able to scroll back the list of completed deployment.
Yeah. Yeah. We finished this one, and so the previous one probably was this year.
No, this is production. GPRD. GPRD. You need to search for GSTG.
Yeah.
It should be early in the morning because the timestamp is really that one.
Here it is. That one was the one we are rolling back to now. Yeah. Okay, that's fine.
Do we want to move to the discussion items while we wait for the? We keep an eye on the deployment, on the rollback, but we.
Let's do that. So first item, or the only item, I opened up an issue so we can start putting together the plan to test on production. Henry, I think you mentioned last week that there's a, did you say there was a production change calendar we should add this to?
Yes, there's a production, how's that called? Let me check. That's the changes in production calendar, this one. So, and you could just put in changes in this one because it's anyway blocking timeframes where it's fine to do S1 changes. So that's why we always have it marked here in this time frame with low production traffic, but I don't know if you use this for anything nowadays. And if you put in important changes, then it's also bringing kind of awareness to the infrastructure department, I think. So it's always good to do it. I'm not sure who really is actively looking into that. I think the most important thing is really that the EOC knows about it when it's getting started. And normally we would do this by having a change request issue, or at least pinging the SRE on call.
Yeah, I was going to say, so we should have a change request issue for this, right? Because whilst we're doing this, production's unknown state, right?
Yeah, that would be the way to do it, the official one, yeah.
Are we going to prepare a package for this, or are we just going to pick anything that we have on that day?
We decided to pick and just go with the flow.
We are brave enough. Okay, I got it.
Well, it will be less synthetic and more real, right?
And has Canary been considered in this rollback exercise?
We don't have real Canary rollback pipeline. Mostly because
I'm not suggesting Canary rollback. What I'm trying to say is that we are doing rollback in production. How does that actually affect Canary, given that we have a separate stage to deploy to Canary? So are we rolling back Canary before we roll back production, or do we drain? Or
we drain? I mean, if we follow so what we would do in case of a real incident, we drain Canary, we roll back production.
Okay.
And then
So we should do the same.
So we
right?
should, but we
Because,
should write this down.
Otherwise, Canaries, yeah, we should do the same.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
And the picking of like the package to do the rollback on, how are we going to schedule this? Because obviously we have to avoid incidents and we need to manage it around our deployments. Like, should we take a best guess at a good time of day for us based on deployments and things, and then we'll have to just postpone if there's an incident, or is there a better scheduling?
This is really hard because the pipeline takes so much time, just building packaging. Because in the beginning, I was thinking something like we pick a bug fix or something and we pick it so that we have something that we deployed plus something very simple. We will trigger a new package, we deploy, but this adds 4 to 6 hours. So it's really, well, I don't know. Because it means that we plan and commit to deploy something that has to be ready. So let's say we have a package ready and we hope it will be deployed. So it will take, say, 4 to 6 hours by the time the package is ready. This means that when the package is ready, we pick a bug fix or something into it and we start packaging the next package immediately, so that we close the gap and we know that as soon as we reach production, we can start a new deployment immediately after. But it takes time. And all of this because we want to roll back. So it's kind of other 2 extra hours. So if someone has a good idea around this, because otherwise the other option is that we pick window when we will be happy to try a rollback and hope for the best.
I'd prefer to pick something if we can, just to manage. And well, two reasons: one, like we know what we're doing, and two, we know it will be something we can roll back.
So, as Myra was asking before, so you prefer to create a synthetic change so that we are sure that we can safely roll back the first time we run it, and we are more in control of the content, so that when we want to run it, unless there is an incident, we can actually roll back. Is that your idea?
If we could manage the time, yeah.
Perhaps that can be our first test to roll back a sort of control package. And then next time, because I guess there will be a next time, we can roll back a real one.
So in the past, I tried to create one of those fake package. I always failed badly. So the idea was that if you create a merge request on security, targeting the auto-deploy branch, this thing will end up being packaged and be part of something we can deploy and roll back without kind of affecting the master history. Because my first attempt, the one that failed badly, was that I would just add a file to the route. So just something / this will be rolled back, so that it would just generate a new package with no differences. But our pipelines are too clever, so we just say nothing related to code changed here. So I would not run anything. And so we'll not be able to tag from it because we'll never consider this as a valid pipeline. So we need a real change. So maybe we can just create a simple merge request that edit the help page or something like this. So it had an extra line, even if it's a HTML commented line. So there's no visible outcome for users, but then we know that we can inspect the content of the page to see if the change is there, and we can really roll it back. But I mean,
yeah, something similar happened when I was trying or testing the security releases commands. And yes, our pipelines are too clever. And if you only add like a documentation change, a pipeline is not generated. So to circumvent that, what we end up doing, it was to comment something on the project model or on the pipeline model for the pipeline to think that, oh, there is a change, I'm going to execute the whole test.
So we're just adding a code comment in it so that it will trigger. Oh yeah, this is good as well. We are running smoke tests.
Nice. Just changing up the package and stuff though, like I guess, does that add, it adds obviously a load more tasks and like coordination and stuff. Like, I guess, does it actually make it any safer? Just like running a pipeline's the same every time, right? Like we know we're not going to do anything with post-deployment migrations. So
it only gives us we are sure that we can roll back, because maybe we book the time and everything, and then there is a post-deployment migration and we can't run it.
let's have a look at timings and see which like when our deployments go out and how much impact there'll be on things, because yeah, it'd be great to be able to do it when we schedule it. Just the fact we have 2 hours to schedule in. What's the state of the environment if we don't do the manual Gitly step?
So the machine running Gitly will be running in the next version. So there's a misalignment in the package version.
And would that cause a problem on the next deployment?
Nope. If we deploy the same package again, they will be just skipped because they're already running it. If it's the next one, it would just be upgraded. I was checking the help page. We actually roll it back. I mean, we always roll back when we say we roll back. So I was kind of expecting this to work, but yeah, double checked in any case. I have a topic I would like to discuss. Just looking at the agenda, no, there's nothing else. So far we focused on making sure our rollback pipeline exists, having a process around it, and that's it. And yeah, I mean, next step in this direction will be testing in production, the pipeline, because I would like to avoid us entering in this never-ending loop where every week we just try to polish the runbook and never tackle the real goal, which is writing automation around this, right? So, I mean, I just want everyone to be aware about this. So our goal is to try to connect the thing that we are doing manually now with the deployment pipeline. And we are not, the target is not starting a rollback automatically right now, but is figuring out if something is going wrong before we reach the point of no return, and providing context on release managers and the on-call, SRE on-call about how they can roll back. So just let's keep this in mind, because I'm kind of expecting that we will move. Yeah, we still have demos, right? But I want us to try to go more in this other direction. Does it make sense?
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah. What do you think will be the first step in moving towards the having more of an automated rollback?
We need to, so the pipeline the deployment triggering that we discussed this week. So the thing that where the deployer is triggered environment by environment, it is one of the first step, because it gives us the ability to break the deployment into smaller chunks, because we need something that allows us to, let's say, I would just, very simply, we need to trigger a deployment up to completing the fleet. So basically doing the warm up, doing migrations, doing the Gitly and then the fleet, and then stopping at that point, because we want control back in release tools where we can inspect the content of the package compared with the content of the database and see if there are post-deployment migration, not based on the code diff, but based on what database thinks is happening right now. And there is the junction point when we need to be clever and say, no, things are going south. We're not going past this point. So it's up to you, release manager, if you want to continue this deployment. So I think this is the first thing. So we need to be able to halt if it's needed before it's too late.
your point, it's a very good point. You make me think that measuring our success against mean time to mitigation is going to be tricky, right? Because you're planning to avoid incidents altogether.
Yeah, I mean, we would basically we work on mean time to detection here, because we want to be able to detect incident as soon as possible and having a mitigation time of 0. Yeah, not 0,
Would it
basically
still be an
the pipeline
incident?
timing.
We'll have to be good
It really
about
depends.
raising.
So what we discussed now, yes, there will still be an incident, because if the code is broken, this check is at the end. So you first roll out everything to the fleet, you broke everything, and then say, oh, it's broken. Maybe it's better to go back. What we should aim when we have more control over it is to stop earlier. So because we do batch deployment, we say 10% of the fleet or one zonal cluster, really, because too many things are moving at the same time right now. But as soon as we can validate our metrics on a smaller set of subset of the deployment, we should consider making the same decision. So right now we know there is a no return point, which are post-deployment migration. So I think we should aim for that. And once we know that our automation is working, we are more confident with everything, we can start being more clever and shifting control over the left side. So detecting earlier.
Yeah, that sounds good. I wonder, I'm trying to think off the top of my head, but I don't know the answer. What notifications the releases team are putting on their auto rollbacks to alert the fact that it actually happened, because that's the step afterwards, right? Is that you have some visibility that a rollback happened and like here was the event. So I'll have a look at their stuff.
What happens in these rollback pipelines when the deployer tells release tools to track the deployment, and then we're creating a deployment in GitLab that has that rolled back SHA, and then we update merge requests that say they were deployed to staging, but then what's happening in that case?
The diff is empty. So we are not doing the clever thing that just marking things are rolled back, but basically we compare the SHA, and because they are compared in reverse, they give you an empty list of commit. Because the merge request tracking works this way. We have previous deployment. The next one, it gives you the list of commit in that, and then we scan the list of commit for merge requests. When you reverse the search pattern, the list of commits is empty. So basically you are marking all the merge requests included in that empty list. And so basically in the environment page, you see another deployment, but on the merge request, there are no track of it. I mean, this is something that the real rollback feature in the product should take care of. So knowing that you actually roll it back, they should kind of go back to everything that was marked as deployed in that release and add a marker, a reference that said this was rolled back.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything like that. I mean, it's only first iteration, I think. So I think it's tricky because it's technically it's a deployment. It's all aside from the package you chose, the GitLab rollback is moving forwards. What would we do ideally? Like you'd have another note or something that said this got rolled back?
I would have expected to see things in the same list, right? So deployed, rolled back. But yeah, I mean, this is more of a product decision.
Yeah. Okay, we can follow up on that.
Because there's also an extra thing, like when you deploy again, it's a bit trickier than just this, right? Because when you deploy again, well, in theory, it should work because the previous deployment is the very old SHA. So the difference between the deployed SHA and the new rolled forward package should include everything that was rolled back plus eventually new developments. So in theory, you should see something like staging canary production rolled back, and then again, staging canary production. Kind of. No, maybe just production because you rolled back only production. I don't know. I'm just thinking about the commit range. Commit range will report those. So in theory.
So like if we deploy package A and then deploy package B and then roll back B to A, then the next deploy will be the diff between A and C, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so when we already have a deployment for that environment, it should not track it. So that's why I would say staging in canary should not appear again, because we track deployment by the merge request commit. So what you get is that in difference between A and C, the merge request commit is still the same. So it would be no tracking for things that are not rolled back, basically. But again, this is assuming that we implement rollback tracking, and it really depends on how we implement rollback tracking.
I can follow up on that one. Do you think there's ever a case where we'd want to roll back more than one deploy?
I'm more concerned and interested about the automation around it. So in terms of automating it, I would never automate rolling back more than once. As a human that should take care of this, yeah, I mean, it's technically is just you compare with a longer delta, and if there are no post-deployment migration, you can.
Yeah. Okay, that's future iteration. Once this is all automated and we get bored, we can add that. On our rollback pipeline as well, do you have any idea of like how often would we run this Gitly rollback? Like, I'm wondering if we should have those QA test stages repeated after that, because at the moment we roll back the fleet, test. If that's all successful, we do all the tracking and finish. But then if we kind of have a separate rollback phase where you can manually roll back on Gitly and prefect, like, should we have something that's checking the state of things after that?
So those manual jobs make use of the need feature. So if you hit the play button, they will run before. So they would not run after the finish. So as long as where it is. Yeah, let me see if something like this. I'll just share my screen very quick. Okay, so this is the pipeline we are looking at. So the representation here is that this is at the end, but this is not true. So if we go here, there's DAG implementation. So basically, I don't know how to look at this, but yeah. So this is GSTG Gitly rollback and GSTG prefect rollback just only requires, this is how it works. GSTG prepare and GSTG warm up. So as soon as those two are green, they will run. So this means that, yeah, basically when you start rolling back the fleet, you say, no, I also need this. So you just play button, and by the time you run QA, the QA will be completed. In staging, we also have a QA that runs on every hour. I don't remember. So eventually, if you roll something back, the next QA round will pick it up. Wow, it failed. Let me share again. So the cleanup stage failed. Timed out. What is this? Okay, so I would try it. Storage STG. Clean cache. What's the purpose of this job? Does anyone know what this clean cache job does?
It reaches into each of the nodes and does an apt cache clean. And the purpose of that is to remove 2 gigabytes that we download when we install GitLab. You're muted.
I muted myself before speaking. Yeah. So that error means that Ansible was not able to reach that machine by the time we wanted to clean it up, right?
I didn't see the error message. So
Oh,
it was
I will
either
show
a
you
timeout
again.
talking to the node, or maybe that process took so long. Ansible's like, screw it, I'm giving
Connection
up
time it
for
out.
you.
Unreachable
so maybe,
true.
It is
Yeah.
going to fail again.
It depends on if the machine is offline. Yeah.
Yeah, it failed again.
It's the same one. So what happened on this machine?
I can't connect to it.
It's file 06 store gsdg.c.gitlab staging.
Yeah, it seems to be down.
So we just notified on Slack that the deployment was successful, but it failed on this job. Is that intended?
This is one of the reasons why we need to refactor the deployer. So basically, we have jobs that run on failure, but they're basically, if something failed on the same stage when you already notified that is okay, they will get no notification.
On failure only cares about a pipeline. It doesn't care about its needs or wants or desires in this case.
Hopes and dreams.
According to the list of instances in staging, there is no such thing as file 06.
Is it possible that it was deleted by someone during the deployment so that we had it in the list of machine at the beginning?
Well, if you retried it, it should have looked at Chef and should have said, hey, here's the update inventory, and file 06 should not exist because upon no deletion, we tell it to deregister itself from Chef. So I wonder if something different happened in this case. Also, I'm surprised to see that we have 5 file servers.
Is there a 5 and a 7, or is it like, what's the cap?
1 through 5.
Yeah, I was looking at the Grafana as well. It doesn't report that machine, just from 0.1 to 0.5.
Is this not something that would have come up earlier in this pipeline? Like just like checking and deploying were fine.
So file store, do we deploy something? No, it's a Git. Yeah, it didn't because it's type Gitly. So if I'm just thinking aloud right here. So I'm guessing that all the jobs that we're running, well, but the warm up should have downloaded package also there. Let me see. Because what I'm thinking is that at the beginning, we do the warm up and we download. So we reach every machine. We download a package. Then the fleet deployment acts only on a slice of the fleet. So if we don't deploy Gitly, we don't run anything. And so it can't be offline. But let me see.
Alessio, I just queried the Chef server, and there's only 5 servers registered. So I wonder if you retried it again, if it would show up in the inventory.
So
it should not at this point.
I hit retry, but in the meantime, I want to see if we downloaded. Let me share my screen. I mean, let's do this together. We are all here. So I retried, and we will see what happened here. But what I'm thinking here is if I go to the prepare, and then I go to the warm up, at the end there should be a list of hosts. Yeah, here it is. So it was there. So this machine was deleted by someone exactly when we were downgrading, running the rollback.
I checked in Terraform, and at least there have not been any changes. So maybe that really was some manual change which never has been committed. Maybe some experiments with Gitly or something in staging.
As long as we don't delete a server during our rollback, I'm fine.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's definitely not our deployment, right?
So let me check the finish. It keeps failing. Is it possible that we cache the list of machine or something like that, Scarback?
I guess the inventory is staying the same, right? Or do we get it from Chef? We get it, right?
Yeah, this is
if
what.
you scroll to the top, it should say, "Hey, our cache is too old. We're looking for a new one." I don't see it. I also
It's
don't
still here.
know
Okay,
precisely where. Somewhere between the run info block on line 69 and our first play, line 87, somewhere inside of that, we should be asking Chef for a new inventory. Ansible has that configured. I'm guess. I don't know how long that's configured for though. Let me try to find that out.
I guess it's this one. So we are caching it, and probably we don't check.
I think Ansible tries to refresh 165 megabytes. What in the world is in that file?
I think that we downloaded, upload every job, this thing. So let's take a look together at the pipeline just to make sure that everything is fine. I think everything is fine because we were at the finished stage. This is the thing that delete packages from a machine, and that machine no longer exists. And looking at the output, it just told us that it reached out all the machines and did whatever it had to do, except for this one that we know no longer exists. So in terms of, is there any danger? I would say no, we are fine.
Yeah, I tend to agree. No, that's good.
Our cache is set to 3,600 seconds.
Is it something that is set in
It's an
Ansible?
Ansible configuration, yeah. So after an hour, you could retry and it should be okay.
And if I delete the artifacts and run it again, will
Theoretically, that would work, yeah. Because it
I
would,
think that
it wouldn't have anything to look at.
I can't because I can only keep. It should be somewhere else. I don't remember. Don't want to mess up with this. Just try quickly. In my days as a CI/CD engineer, I remember there was an expired cache somewhere, but probably you can, if there is already expired set, so it's time-based, you will not be able to.
But this is an
force the expired.
artifact that would behave slightly different than the cache, correct?
Yeah, but this, yeah, I was browsing artifact. This is a job artifact. So we are using, so artifacts. So the thing is, if you are using the cache, because there's also cache feature, if you're using the cache features, your job should be able to handle missing cache. So if the cache is not there, it should be able to generate the things. If you want to be sure that the file is always persisted and the next job will always have it no matter what, then you need to use an artifact. And because our artifacts are not real artifacts, but are more just things that get passed by from one job to the next one, we implemented the expired feature so that you can treat them as a kind of a cache thing. Okay. So should we try to figure out, I mean, even our window outside of this call, but just to be extra sure why the server was deleted. I mean, just having a track that the server was deleted by someone.
Yeah, I think it'd be good to at least it sounds like it was a manual action from someone, but it would be good. It'd be good to know that it wasn't our pipeline for sure.
Yeah, it must have been manual because there's no trace in Terraform for it. Yeah, I mean, we can ask the infrastructure team if anybody did it, or just have a look in the GCloud logs, I guess. We'll try to do that.
So just to wrap up on this demo, so should we still, we'll go ahead and plan in a production rollback for next week sometime? Does that still seem like a good time frame to aim for?
If it does make sense in terms of what release manager are planning, so if you're just not getting in the way of something important, I would say we can do it.
Cool. Okay, sounds good. I'll have a little think about whether what the timings look like on whether we would maybe be able to put in a special package or whether we should just go rogue. And see how that looks, because and it's probably pros and cons either way. Maybe it doesn't actually matter that much. It'd be good just to be able to test one out. So I'll play around with some timings there and see what that looks like. Cool. If I chat to the other EMs about getting a potential rollback date, would someone be willing to take on the like prep for the rollback, like putting in the like get as a change request open and basically do the kind of admin tasks for that stuff?
I've never done, but I can do one.
Perfect. Thank you. Good stuff.
I'm scanning quickly through the actions in the agenda node. So maybe we could have someone that can volunteer for polishing a bit the run book, but just then we say it's done. So we don't keep iterating over and over on it, but we say just give it a final shape that includes then mention that Geesely rollback is manual and try to figure out what emerged today. And then, I mean, at least I would consider close the issue about creating the thing. Then if we need to change it again, we can, obviously, but I would say let's call it done.
I'm happy to have another pass on it, and based on what we saw today, and then we can say the issue is closed, and then, as always, right, MRs to make improvements from there. So yeah, I'm happy to take that. Cool. Should we go async for this final bit? I feel like I'm watching Nels attentively to see, but we probably don't need to sit on a Zoom for that one, unless he comes back and says no. And then we might want to just review our pipeline. So, but we can work out that bit.
Yeah, I'm having a look asynchronously to see if I can figure out what happened.
Great stuff.
I guess he's trying the same, but I will have a look for that.
Perfect. That's great. Thanks for demoing, Henry. Nice work.
That was fun.
Awesome. All right. Is there anything else anyone wants to go through today? No? Perfect. All right. Enjoy the rest of your day.